Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners Board Work Session. It is Thursday, August 3rd, 2023. It is 4:02 p.m. This session is set to go until 5 p.m. That is just a recommended time, Commissioners. This is a
I
hybrid.
think Tim got the message.
We're at 3,000. This is a hybrid meeting. We're at 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, room 110 for public virtual attendance. You may follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel. Carolina Mejia, I'm the chair of the board, joining you via Zoom, Vice Chair Ty Menser and Commissioner Gary Edwards in the boardroom. And today we are going to be discussing the results of public hearing on water and sewer utility consolidation briefing. And this is only an informational session?
Correct.
Okay. So no decisions are going to be requested? No.
Is there some problem? Why don't we do it?
Okay, so passing this to Tim.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager, Public Works. While the PowerPoint's loading, I'm here to talk to you today about the results of the two public hearings. One on the water and sewer utility code updates, and the second on the utility consolidation resolution. Do you want me to try? Thank you. I will tiny. Okay, start it now.
I already did.
Okay, so on the agenda today, I'm going to do a quick revisit of the purpose of the July 18th public hearings. I'll talk a little bit about the community outreach and engagement process. We'll talk about the comments and feedback that were received and staff's response to that feedback. And then we'll talk real briefly about the next steps in the consolidation process. Okay, as you'll recall, we had back-to-back 30-minute public hearings on July 18th. The first hearing was related to water and sewer utility code updates, an ordinance as such. Even though that is aligned with our utility consolidation process, the substance of the ordinance and the code updates was primarily administrative cleanup, and as such, in our engagement with the communities and at the public hearing, we received no comments that were specific to that ordinance. The second public hearing was related to the resolution itself that would consolidate the water and sewer utilities. So I want to back up a little bit and talk about the community outreach and engagement process that came in advance of the public hearings. So in addition to advertisement of the public hearings, we had an informational webpage on the Public Works website that we maintained where our ratepayers could go and find information on the utilities and the proposed consolidation of the utilities. We also had flyers included in utility bills that went out to our ratepayers. We had messaging in our quarterly utility newsletter, as well as messaging in our annual consumer confidence report that goes out to all ratepayers. So all this information was front and center with our ratepayers. We also had community open houses in each of the communities. And we'll talk about that a little more later in the briefing. So the comments and feedback received, I'm going to break it out into two categories because of the outreach and engagement we had. I'm going to talk first about the feedback that we received prior to the public hearings. So to break it down, we had one letter of support from the Tamashan Homeowners Association. We had one email of support from a Tamashan Utility Advisory Committee member. We had one open house postcard of support from a Tamashan committee member. And we had two emails with questions and comments that were included in the packet that the board received for the public hearings. That the questions were answered satisfactorily by Public Works staff, and that, I'm saying that based on the feedback that we received from the committee members. So that's not me saying that, that is the committee saying that. The comments stated a preference for elected versus appointed committee. All of those comments were from members of the Boston Harbor community specifically, and again, we'll discuss staff's response to that later on in the briefing. So moving on to the in-person comments that were received during the public hearings. There were 2 comments in support of consolidation, one from a Boston Harbor UAC member and one from a Tamashan UAC member, Utility Advisory Committee member. We also had an additional comment during the public hearing that was not related to the topic. It was about a service area that the county doesn't serve. Gonna back up again to the open house discussions real quick. Again, they were held for all service areas, Grand Mound, Boston Harbor. We did a combined open house for Tamashan and Olympic View. Again, Boston Harbor, some of the Boston Harbor residents had concerns related to the Utility Advisory Committee appointments versus elections. So great comments received from the community, made a lot of sense as far as their desire to have elections versus being appointed to that. We discussed that in-house. We agreed that we should be moving forward with a resolution that advances elections. So what we did is we revised the resolution with following the current Boston Harbor model for elections. That's been well supported by that committee in the past. So to break it down, members elected by a simple majority vote of the service area ratepayers. Elections are managed by Public Works administrative staff. They put the outreach for that in the utility bills, and they manage that vote. Committee members would be a 4-year term that are staggered for each community. Initially, there would be one member that serves a 2-year term, one serves a 4, and then they would be 4 years from there on out. And again, the UACs support this direction. So again, this is in advance of having these items in front of the board on August 15th. So be back in front of you at agenda setting next Tuesday to answer any questions you may have on the ordinance that updates the water and sewer codes and the resolution that would effectively consolidate the funds for the water and sewer utilities. And ongoing is the consolidated funds that are under development for the 2024-2025 budget process. And with that, I would take any questions you may have. Thank you. Good job. All right.
Thank you. Questions?
No questions, thank you.
No questions?
No questions.
I have one,
Really? Okay, go ahead, Rob.
Madam Chair, if I may, and that is in terms of the elections, is that something that staff, I mean, Public Works would end up having to administer, send out ballots to all of the utility ratepayers and then? Okay.
Yeah, great question. That is how this would shake out, and it is the way that it's currently done as well. So for some time now, Public Works has administered all of those elections.
And you just put it in the water bill, don't you?
Yes, it's
So
all,
it's a mailing anyway.
Okay.
it's efficient.
Yeah.
It's very efficient. And our admin staff manages that very well.
So Boston Harbor wanted this mainly,
Yes,
but it's gonna apply to everywhere.
it will apply
Nobody
across-
else said we don't wanna be, have to elect or go through it. I mean, no one else weighed in one way or the other.
No, we reached out to the Tamashan UAC because they had initially wanted to put forward their committee members from within their HOA. They wanted to discuss that at their HOA and put their committee members forward. So we asked them if this would work for them, and they agreed that it would work for them.
Oh, like an HOA leadership selecting rather than their full ratepayer being able to vote.
Yeah, they do an election, but it's done within their HOA membership. So it's it's effectively the same body. They're just managing it through their HOA, if that makes sense.
Is that what they're gonna do?
No, that's
No.
what they're currently doing. What we're going to move to is the model where we solicit folks who want to serve on the UAC, they're nominated, and then we do a vote. And
The ratepayers will vote.
yes, the ratepayers will vote. And Tamashan is good with that approach, to answer your question.
And then Grand Mound, they don't even have such a committee, right?
They do not currently
So this will
have
be something new for them.
this will be something new for them. So we'll, solicit nominations
And
and
that is gonna be more complicated, I think.
could be,
It's just getting nominations.
right? Yeah, we've thought about that, we may have potentially open seats on that committee. Very good.
Okay. Any additional questions,
No.
comments? Okay. Well, if it is 4:13. I want to thank the commissioners as well as staff for hanging on with us today. It's been a long day, so thank you all. 4:13. Have the gift of time. You're adjourned.